Hey guys, welcome back. In this video, we are looking at XRP. So XRP is going what we have said in our previous videos. Firstly, an important level that XRP is trying to protect is the 1.5. If you take a look at the low on the previous day or the 31st, it was 1.501. So that was the lowest we got. Today, what we saw was 1.5018. So a very minor difference, but it highlights how they're trying to protect this 1.5 area. Now, typically when it comes to this area 1, 1.5, and even when it's 1.1, 1.2, when we're talking about these levels, they are sentimental. It's just that when it comes to these bigger numbers, so the 1, 1.5, 2, these whole numbers, that's when it gets serious. And so for XRP, at 1.5 is quite significant, and evidently we are seeing it trying to protect 1.5. Now, what we have talked about was how we are seeing the gradual decline like we are seeing here. We talked about how buyers are buying it up, but ultimately it looks like, at least from the candles, that sellers are in control. We've already given our target in terms of where I think it would reach, or not the very bottom, but where I think it can reach, which is 1.4167. So I still think we have some area to go before that. Now, where I think that this will really happen is actually breaking this low of not only 1.501, but more importantly 1.5. I do think that if we are able to see it actually break below this level, we may be seeing a flush happening. And the question is then, is that the people who are stacking up at 1.5, where are their stop losses? Are those stop losses going to be hunted? Because, for example, if they have accumulated a lot of positions at 1.5 and they do have their stop loss around this 1.4167 level, then not only are we seeing the price go to 1.4167, but when it does hit that area, we're actually going to see it go down even further. And so that's what we want to watch out for. Now, if these positions have their stop losses maybe at 1.3 or even lower at 1, I think it's a less likelihood, because it takes so much more capital, it takes so much more resources to try and stop loss hunt for them, but it's still something that's obviously on the table. And so that's what you have to look out for, is that there is a big potential of not only a first initial flush of price downwards as we break below 1.5, but when it liquidates these longs, when it liquidates these sentimental and psychological stop loss level as well, it could further drop the price even more. Now, what we are seeing right now, if we go into the hourly, is just, again, the same thing, right? I do think that for short-term trading, there are big potential right now. Essentially, if you're looking at kind of the longs towards this level, it pretty much is consolidating around this area. So if you're looking at shorting around the higher level, and then longing at the lower level, this is perfectly fine. And unless we're seeing any significant things happening, as we get closer towards the weekend, the consolidation staying is only going to get higher. So if we want to see movements happening, we want to see it happen Thursday or Friday during the weekdays. If we don't see any movements happening or any major dictation movement happens, I'm talking about whether we're going to see it break out and then the price is going to go backwards, or whether we're going to see it break down and the price is going to go further downwards. If we don't see something like this happen before Thursday or Friday, what I think is very likely to happen is we are just going to consolidate more into the weekend until potentially late or mid Sunday, because that's typically, for the last few weeks, what's been happening for crypto. If we don't see something major happening during the week, we see it consolidate during the weekend. So if we are going to see this consolidate and not make any movements, then the possibility, so the potential of you longing at the bottom and shorting at the top is going to be there. It's going to stay there until, what I've said, mid or late Sunday. And then after that, if it does make a movement, then you're obviously going to miss out on that. That's something that I think that potentially is something that you could be looking for, but that's not where the big stuff is being made. That's not where the biggest return. The biggest return is, of course, looking at whether or not we are going to get this flush downwards, because if we do, easily you ride the trend, you can take the short, and that's going to be easy peasy. Or are we going to see it, if we do see it go down and hit this 1.4167, is that going to be the very bottom? This is something we talked about in the last video, because if it is the bottom, then what we are going to be looking at is huge accumulation at this level. And what that is that it's going to give you a very good foundation level for you to build up longs, and you can ride this up all the way up to what we've seen in the past. wherever you're looking at $1, $1.5, $2, $3, even higher. That's what we're going to be looking at. As always, none of this is financial advice, so do take Instagram so much, do your own due diligence and research, and I'll catch you guys next time.